Story 1. AITAH for laughing in my ex's face and calling her struggles karma for choosing her manipulative friend over me. I'm 28M who was dating Kelly 27F for 3 years, planning to propose with an engagement ring and a luxury vacation. However, her best friend, Nat 27F, was always a problem. From the start, Nat disliked me and tried to break us up by falsely accusing me of cheating and convincing Kelly I was controlling. This caused many arguments, but Kelly always defended Nat. In January 2024, I reached my limit. We were celebrating my birthday, and Kelly invited Nat despite my objections. Nat dominated the conversation, talking about her financial issues. I asked Kelly to intervene, but when she tried, Nat accused her of not caring and then attacked me, calling me controlling. I lost my temper, calling her a manipulative bitch. Nat physically assaulted me, leaving bruises. The day was ruined, and back home, I gave Kelly an ultimatum: either me or Nat. Kelly argued it was unfair to make her choose. We fought, and when Kelly said I provoked Nat by insulting her, I told her to leave. After threatening to call the cops, she finally left. I packed all of Kelly's belongings, including everything I had bought for her since she had lived off my money for 2 years. I texted her to pick up her things, and when she arrived, I handed them over without speaking. Later, Nat texted, calling me a jerk for keeping the gifts. Kelly also texted, calling me stingy. Angry, I sent her photos of the expensive engagement ring and vacation tickets I had bought to show what she missed out on because of Nat. Then, I blocked her. In September, Kelly showed up at my place, looking awful, and begged me to take her back. She admitted she had made a huge mistake. After we broke up, she got her own apartment but realized how manipulative Nat was. Nat kept guilt-tripping her into giving her money and eventually moved in with Kelly after getting evicted. Things got worse. Nat started using drugs, invited shady people over, and Kelly noticed cash and valuables, including her grandmother's necklace, were stolen. When she confronted Nat, Nat physically assaulted her, and 2 days later, Kelly was evicted because of Nat's behavior. Now homeless, jobless, and broke, Kelly apologized, saying she would do anything to get back together. I felt a sense of satisfaction and told her it was karma for choosing Nat over me. I asked her to leave, threatening to call the police if she didn't. Kelly told mutual friends, and they think I was too harsh given her situation. They suggest I apologize or even consider taking her back. Now, I'm conflicted. Should I apologize to keep the peace with my friends, or am I justified in not taking her back or apologizing? Aida. Edit 1. Thanks for all your opinions and suggestions. I've decided to talk to Kelly once and for all and tell her to leave me alone. I'm gonna apologize for taking pleasure in her misery, not to please my friends but just because I want to get over with this as soon as possible. I've set up a meeting at a busy public place tomorrow. I also took the advice of my elder sister. I've always turned to her for advice. I'll update and let you guys know how the talk goes. I'm hoping to close this chapter of my life forever. Peace Scissor. Update 1. Hey guys. I'm back. I took some suggestions from the comments and met Kelly a few hours after writing the post. I realized by reading a few comments that I was in the wrong for holding my financial problems as a point of contention. I told Kelly that I was sorry for how I responded to hearing her struggles. I also said that I had struggled to come to terms with the fact she had chosen Nat over me. I said that it was not possible for us to get back together but that I would help her. For old time's sake, I've decided to help her with the rent for a small place for 6 months. I told her not to get her hopes up about getting back together. I also told her that if she got involved with Nat again, I would have no choice but to withdraw my support. She got really emotional and apologized for everything that happened and promised to stay away from Nat. She expressed her gratitude and told me that she'll respect my wishes this time. We parted on a good note with her thanking me for caring for her after everything she had done. A few mutual friends came to know about our talk a few minutes after we parted. Some called and chastised me for not taking her back. I was done with them at that point. I've cut the 3 of them who said that I was an entitled jerk for not taking her back. I'm hoping that this is the last update. I might update a few months later if anything develops, but hopefully Nat stays out of the way this time. Story 2. Aida for insisting on telling my sister the real reason our dad left us. I 38F have always been grappling with my dad leaving when I was 9. My sister 34F has almost no memory of him, and our mom 60F raised us alone without ever discussing our dad. I always admired her strength, and I never had contact with him after he left. Recently, after ending a long-term relationship and starting therapy, I felt the need to confront my mom about our dad. She revealed that she was never happy with him and only married him because she was pregnant with me. This completely changed my understanding of our family. She also admitted to being unfaithful, which she said was the reason why he left. While I think she should have told me all this sooner, I still believe my dad's decision to abandon us was unforgivable. My mom and I agreed my sister shouldn't know these details. Things got complicated when my sister announced she's pregnant. She's happily married, and we're all excited about the baby. The problem started when she said she wanted to contact our dad to let him know he's going to be a grandfather. I couldn't understand why she'd want to do that, so I tried to talk her out of it, thinking it might just be a pregnancy brain thing. I brought this up with our mom, suggesting we tell my sister the truth before she reaches out to our dad. That's when my mom dropped another bombshell. It wasn't just her infidelity that led to our dad leaving. He left after finding out that my sister isn't actually his biological child. Now, I feel we can't keep this from my sister, especially since she's set on contacting our dad, well, my dad. My mom thinks we should still convince her to forget about it and keep everything hidden. I'm torn. Should I tell my sister the truth or let her go on without knowing? Aida for wanting to share this with her. Story 3. Yelled something I 42F shouldn't have at my husband 44M in front of our kids. How to move forward. I 42F have been a long time lurker here, and the posts here have been giving me insight into the highly toxic and emotionally abusive relationship I have been in, with my husband 44M of almost 10 years. We have 2 kids together 4F and 1M. I will be changing some minor details to minimize identification. What happened yesterday? I woke up to find that the baby peed through his diaper. His current diapers have occasional fit issues. Okay, happens. I took off his diaper and was about to put a new one on, when he bolted bare bottom. Now, a bit of background: he has never held a real job since the end of his military career years before we met. So he does rideshare driving, which means he wakes up and goes to sleep at odd hours. This, combined with his horrid snoring, led to us having separate bedrooms early on, which works well for us for the most part. Baby ran straight into his room with me behind, and I asked my husband, who was still in bed watching videos on his phone, his nickname, "Can you put the diaper on him?" He goes in a somewhat sarcastic tone, "You are right there and you are completely capable of doing that yourself." I said, "I need to help our little girl with her clothes," and he interrupts and says she is having her breakfast. So I also say I need to take my shower, and he ignores that and says, "Well, you aren't even trying hard to put the diaper on the baby." At this point I notice that the pee has wet his shirt as well, so baby needs a bath. I put him in the tub without water and let him sit with the toys and quickly run to grab his washcloth and new clothes. When I get back, I see that the baby has now let his bowels loose on the tub and trying to touch his toys as well. I'm autistic, and slowly getting overwhelmed, so I go OMG at first and then take him out, along with every single toy, and start cleaning the mess. I go back and ask my husband, "Can you at least watch the baby so that he won't grab poop?" Get cut short again with a typical arrogant and exasperated yell, "Why do I have to?" And I cut him short saying, "Because you are a parent," and slam the door shut. For the next hour, I clean each and every item around over and over as my boy continues to touch either dirty stuff after I clean his hands or clean items after touching the dirty stuff. My little girl comes upstairs multiple times to check on us and ask what happened and to offer help. The father stays in bed the whole time. Later, while I was in the kitchen, he goes, "So do you want to tell me what that was all about?" Me, "Oh, so now you want to know. You couldn't care enough to ask me when I was interrupted." He, "How do I know you need help when you never asked?" Me, pissed off, "What? I did ask. I came to your room and interrupted." He, super loudly, "You never asked. You never asked. You never asked. You never asked." And on, while I am trying to explain, in vain, how I did ask twice. I almost lost my voice when I realized he doesn't care about my explanation. He is on the usual gaslighting mode. Hi, I had my autistic meltdown. So I go, at full volume while he is still yelling, you never asked, go die. Go F asterisk 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 ing die. Go away forever. I hate you. I hate you. He suddenly became silent, totally shocked. At that point I say, still seething, me and these kids will be so much better without you. He mumbles in shock, where is this coming from? I said, from all the crap I've been putting up with so long. We haven't really spoken since. My regret comes here. My children heard the whole thing and my 4-year-old tells me, Mommy, that's not nice. You shouldn't say that. I am so mad that I agree with her and still keep going. I don't even remember what all I said. I talked to her later, apologized that she had to hear that, and told her she need not worry, but I worry that a lot of damage has been done. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I can give more details if asked, I just need advice on how to move forward. He has been draining me over the years and I have been so depressed that I lost a 20-year software engineering career in July, and been trying a career switch since, right now working on a minimum wage temp job. Please help, good people, I don't like what I've become. Story 4. Aida, if I tell my fiancé I don't want to continue to live and pay the mortgage of a house they bought. Bear with me, this is a lot. I, 42F, moved in with my fiancé, 46M, into a home him and his ex bought together. I have always told him that this is temporary for us because I want us to buy a home together. The house is only in her name but we pay the mortgage payments. He made a written agreement with her that he will get the house after it's paid for. This came up because he was giving her the money to pay the mortgage and one day we were served with pre-foreclosure notice. In essence, she wasn't paying. So the house had to be refinanced, which extended the mortgage by years and also raised the mortgage $400. I was pissed. He decided we should take on the extra $400. Now we are paying the $2,200 mortgage and she is reaping the benefits of her credit being brought back up. I have no ties to it and won't get anything out of it because they have control. So Aida for stating I'm going to move forward with buying my own house and he can deal with that. Edit. They both owned the house in the divorce. He said she could have it, she couldn't handle it, so he just took over and moved in. They didn't change any paperwork, so the mortgage and deed is in her name. They have a written notarized agreement that he will pay and has all rights and responsibilities to said home. Also, in the event it is sold, he gets all monies. Story 5. Aida for not splitting my college fund with my dad's affair child. My father dropped a big bomb on our family last year when he revealed that he had a secret son from his affair years ago. After my mom found out and gave him the ultimatum, he cut things off with the mistress and she moved away until last year when she introduced him to their son Hank. I really don't give a damn about his latent father instinct since he didn't give his other family any consideration when he broke the news. Thank God my mom divorced him and now neither my brother Connor, M18, sister Sophia, F15, or I want anything to do with him anymore. Here's the thing though, we have a shared college fund that my mom's parents set up for us when we were little. My parents contribute almost half of the money and my maternal grandparents contribute the other half. The account remains under my mom after the divorce. As far as I know, he stopped contributing to that account after the divorce. Last month, I found out that my dad's been harassing my mom because he wanted to add Hank as a beneficiary to the college fund for my siblings. He's saying that Hank is his son and therefore entitled to the college fund that he set up for me, Connor, and Sophia. My mom told him off and now he has been going around harassing her online and to their mutual acquaintances and friends, claiming that she is heartless and cruel for taking her anger out on an innocent child. And then, he also had the genius idea to reach out to me to put pressure on my mom. He said I should consider opening up my heart to Hank, who grew up without a father and wasn't set up in life like my siblings and me. I left him on read since honestly, the things I wanted to say to that callous evil monster may be too much. Yesterday he changed tactics and now said he wanted to withdraw all his part of the money from the account, divided them to make sure Hank has his share and deposited the rest back into the account. With the caveat that since Connor and I didn't need to use the college fund for tuition since we both had full-ride scholarships, the money would be divided into 2 parts for Hank and Sophia, instead of into 4 parts for his 4 children. And now him, some of my dad's side of the family, and even the mistress are pressuring my mom to agree to that. And I'm praying that she won't. It physically makes me angry that we're being asked to split our money with my dad's affair child. Even if yes, I don't need to use the money to pay for school, I will need it in the future. Same with Connor. And I know for a fact he would never use the same reasoning to exclude Connor and I from the fund just to have the money solely for Sophia in the same situation. It's all for Hank. I understand that Hank is innocent and not responsible for his parents' actions, but I don't think of him as my brother. Hell, I don't even think of my father as my father anymore, to be honest. As far as I'm concerned, my family consists of me, my siblings, and my mom. That's it. So, Aida. Edit. I'm 23, Hank is 14. Story 6. How do I 36F tell my husband, 39M, that I don't want to celebrate my birthday with him? My husband's birthday was just a few days ago. I wanted to take him out to dinner and he said he just wanted a low-key birthday at home, so I respected his wishes. We have been married for 3 years and together for 7. We have 2 children, 2 and 3 years old. In the past years I've always tried my best to make him feel special on his birthday. Baking his favorite cake, made his favorite meals, did a surprise B-Day celebration one year, have decorated the house, and got him presents. His parents and siblings don't do anything for his birthday and always act like it's any other day. His own dad forgot his B-Day this year and I had to call him to remind him. For this birthday, I got his favorite coffee and donuts when he woke up. Had baked 2 apple pies per his request the night before with my sister after working a full work day and taking care of my kids. He works nights and isn't home till 9:30-10. I had balloons downstairs and his presents from me and the kids waiting to be ready when he walked downstairs. Everything was going well the morning of his birthday. We got home that afternoon and I stared to get a really bad headache. I'm under a lot of pressure and get headaches often. I'm the main caretaker of my children, home, and I work full-time in a very difficult and demanding job. My husband tries to help, but always uses his commute and work as an excuse. Anyways, he asked me what was wrong and I told him my head was hurting badly. He was so upset and said, "Wow, even on my birthday I have to deal with your bullshit," threw a tantrum, then everything went downhill from there. My 3-year-old wasn't listening during lunch, so my husband took him up to his room, slammed the door shut, and started yelling at him, and I ran up there to rescue my son and told my husband not to ever yell at him like that. I was already in semi-tears BC of his response to my headache, and then my husband told me in front of my 3-year-old, "I hate you," yelled and said I want a divorce. Then things escalated very badly. I didn't care it was his birthday anymore and I was so overwhelmed with sadness, so I left. A few hours pass by and I tell my husband let's just have pizza and pretend for the kids since they were so excited to sing happy birthday etc. He then proceeds to tell me this is the worst day of his life and he's the saddest he's ever been in his life and that I left to punish him and I didn't make him feel special. At this point his birthday doesn't even matter since he said all those terrible things to me. My birthday is coming up in 2 weeks and I just don't want to do anything with him at all. I promised myself to focus on my health for this birth year and stop putting my energy into him since he doesn't give me the energy I feel I deserve. How can I communicate to him the reasoning behind why I don't want to spend my birthday with him this year? Story 7. Beeped my car horn while they were on their phone. Recently I parked in an underground car park at a small shopping center. I parked nose in, next to a large pole on my left. There was an empty car space beside me when I went into the center. When I returned to my car with a full shopping trolley, a man had parked next to me, reverse in. He was on his phone, standing in between my car and his, with his driver's door open. The door almost touching my driver's door. I have him a nod, to say hello, unloaded groceries into my boot and returned my trolley. When I came back to my car, I said, "Excuse me please," so I could enter my car, thinking he'd realize I wanted to leave. He gave me the biggest sideways stink eye, still talking on his phone, but did move slightly and close his door so I could get in my car. As soon as I'm in, he opens his door again. Now, if I had reversed, my wing mirror would have clipped his door. And I can't swing my car the other way because of the pole. I lower my window, ask nicely, "Excuse me, can close your door so I can leave?" He glares at me, holds up a finger in a wait gesture, and turns away. Okay. I close my window, lock the doors, look at him directly, and lay my hand on the horn. He spins around and oh, if looks could kill. He's still on the phone. My hand is still on the horn. He glares at me even harder. My hand is still on the horn. I raise my eyebrows and keep looking directly at him. He gets in his car and slams his door. I take my hand off the horn. Thank you. I mouth at him with a sweet smile, and reverse my car. Was I petty? Yes. Did it feel good? Also yes. Story 8. I ate for leaving my girlfriend at a party after she publicly humiliated me. I 23M have been dating my girlfriend 22F for almost a year. She's smart, fun, and great most of the time, but she has this habit of tearing me down in front of other people. I've always brushed it off, thinking maybe I'm just overreacting or being too sensitive. But last weekend, she crossed a line, and I'm starting to wonder if this relationship is even worth it. Here's what happened. We were at a party with some friends, and everything was fine at first. We were playing drinking games, and she was already a bit tipsy, but no big deal, right? Then, out of nowhere, she starts making jokes about me. She called me lazy and said I'm lucky she's with me because otherwise I'd just be some loser playing video games all day. Everyone laughed, and I tried to laugh it off too, but inside I was pissed. Then it got worse. She started going into full roast mode, mocking how I don't make as much money as she does, I'm still in school, and even joked that I was bad in bed, saying she deserves better. I couldn't believe it. She was ripping into me like I was some kind of joke to her, and all our friends were just eating it up. I pulled her aside and told her to stop, that she was crossing a line. She rolled her eyes and said, "Oh my God, stop being so dramatic. It's a joke. You're making this awkward now." She said I was ruining the vibe because I couldn't handle a little teasing. When I tried to leave, she told me to man up and stop being such a crybaby. That was it for me. I left the party. I texted her to let her know I was going home, and she didn't respond until hours later. When she finally came home, she was absolutely livid. She said I embarrassed her by leaving and that I made her look crazy in front of everyone. She told me I need to stop being so sensitive and that if I can't handle her sense of humor, maybe I'm not mature enough to be in a relationship. I'm at the point where I don't even know what to think. Am I really being too sensitive? I feel like no one should talk about their partner like that, especially in front of friends, but she's convinced that I'm the problem here. I ate for walking out of the party after my girlfriend publicly humiliated me. Or am I just too sensitive like she says? Hey everyone, back with one update. First off, thanks again for all the advice and support. It helped me realize I needed to stand up for myself, and that's exactly what I did, though things didn't go as I expected. I finally confronted my girlfriend about everything, her constant digs at me. How she embarrassed me at the party, and how I was done being treated that way. I told her I wanted to break up. At first, she looked completely shocked, like she couldn't believe I was the one ending things. Then her ego kicked in. She scoffed and said something like, "You're not breaking up with me, I'm always the one who does the dumping." She made it clear that, in her mind, no one walks away from her. To top it off, she hinted that she could have been with guys who were better than me, saying how she'd stuck around because she thought I'd eventually make more money, or get my act together. It was all about her pride and what she could gain from the relationship. She wasn't upset about losing me, she was mad because she didn't get to be the one calling the shots. I ended it right there and left. Now, she's trying to spin it like she dumped me, but honestly, I don't care. I'm just relieved to be out of it. Although I'm relieved, but feeling really sad and depressed. I feel like I wanna talk to someone. Story 9. Is it in bad taste to donate luxury food items to a food bank? My daughter's elementary school does a good drive around this time of year for local food banks. Every year I go through the pantry and donate anything I won't use, bought too many of, things my daughter liked until I bought it in bulk, etc. I make sure nothing is expired. This year, in addition to the typical items, I have several bottles of barbecue sauce and wing sauces from a charity raffle basket I won, salad dressings, and multiple big bottles of flavored coffee syrups. I had planned to donate these as well until another school mom made a comment that it was tacky and out of touch, since those are luxuries and won't help people who need actual food. At one time when I was much younger, I was in a very bad place in life and frequently relied on food banks to survive. I'm very fortunate now to be in a much better place in life and in a position to be able to help other people. It was such a dark time for me and made me feel so ashamed and low. If I had gotten something like a bottle of sauce to add to meals or a coffee syrup to make a fancy coffee drink, that would have been such a special treat and added a little bright spot in such an awful situation. Just having something more than bare necessities would have felt incredible. However, the comments from the other mom have made me second guess myself. In no way would I want to come across as insulting or tone deaf. What are your thoughts? Story 10. Aida for calling out a coworker who uses my birthday as a way to treat her kids. I, Sarah 31F, work in a relatively small office of about 30. When coworkers' birthdays roll around, I am usually the resident baker that make them what they want or buy them what they want. I am big on making birthdays special. That being said, usually on my birthday there is this one coworker, we shall call her, Minnie the Moocher 41F, who for some reason takes it upon herself to be the self-proclaimed handler of my birthdays, and every year she likes to get me a cookie cake. This is her favorite, not mine, but for some reason she has decided it is my favorite. I have tried to tell her directly and indirectly that I do not like cookie cakes, but she laughs it off and says, "Oh, I get it for you so I can take the leftovers home to my kids." She says this because the cookie cakes are mostly not eaten by all, and I do usually tell her to take it home because I won't. It should be noted that all cakes, etc. are paid for by the company, even if I make it. Last year she was on vacation during my birthday. Another coworker, we will call her Linda, bought my cake that year and she got my favorite, a chantilly cake from Whole Foods. This is the same I bought for her the year before, and she remembered I told her it was my favorite, and so she got me the same. This year my birthday rolled around and Linda was all set to order a chantilly cake, and Minnie got wind of it and told her she would handle it because Sarah likes cookie cakes. Linda is direct and she told her pretty firmly that I in fact did not like cookie cakes. This upset Minnie, who had her heart set on a cookie cake as before, but Linda was pretty firm. When Linda went to pick up my cake, they told her the cake order had been cancelled. Linda was confused as she ordered the cake the week before and she did not cancel. Fast forward to next day, by then all in the office knew, they pretty much thought that WF messed up. Linda shared what happened with Minnie. Shockingly, Minnie told Linda that she cancelled the cake because she felt I was ungrateful, that for years I got a cookie cake and I knew that she took it home to her kids as a treat, and that if her kids couldn't have anything neither could I. Seriously, she said this and Linda was speechless, for about 2 seconds. I got wind of this and also confronted Minnie asking her why she did this, and she told me the same, that it was the only time other than her birthday that she can take this treat home to her kids and she felt I was being a witch and didn't deserve anything. I rarely lose my temper, but on this I told her that she was an AH for doing this and using me in my birthday. I feel bad, but at the same time this is not my responsibility. Just to note, Minnie is not destitute, just cheap. So am I. By the way, our is involved now. Story 11. My 29M GF 27F DM bikini pictures to past FWBs. Is this breakup worthy? My girlfriend, she's 27, I'm 29, recently got back from a beach vacation with some girlfriends of hers. She posted a lot of pictures of the trip on her Instagram, many in a bikini of course, which I have absolutely no problem with. She also sent me other ones she didn't post as well, which were a bit spicier, and I love that. I showered compliments on her and told her I couldn't wait for her to be back to get my hands on her. My situation that this is about, however, happened last night when she was showing me a TikTok on her phone. While the video was playing, an Instagram notification pops up on her phone and I see it's a message from a guy and it had a bunch of those flame and sweating face emojis. She immediately swipes it away, the video finishes, and I'm kind of stunned and didn't really know how to react in the moment. I think she thought that there was a chance I didn't see what the emojis were since I was kind of far away from her showing me the video. I didn't really know what to do, and I think in the moment I was in denial and shocked that I saw that message and acted like I didn't see it. We stayed in the room together after this and kept watching TV, and the second she got up to go the bathroom I grabbed her phone and looked quickly and saw that she recently DM'd the same exact pictures that she sent to me while on the trip to not one, but two guys. I put her phone down, and when she got back from the bathroom I asked her who that person was that sent her a message while she was showing me the video. She just said, "Oh, he is just a friend that messaged me." I asked her what they were talking about and she said, "Oh, just random stuff, he was asking how my day was." I asked if I could see their conversation and she kind of freaked and asked why and that she doesn't ask to see my conversations while walking away. She goes into the bedroom with her phone and I let her go, and I'm assuming she is deleting the messages, so I give her time, and then went to the bedroom and put my foot down and said I need to see those messages. She gives me her phone and of course, the pictures and emoji message are gone as I expected. I told her I know she's lying and that she had sent pictures to those guys as I just saw them 15 minutes earlier. She immediately says, "OMG, it's not a big deal, it's not like they were nudes or anything, I'm just in my bikini." I asked her who those guys were and she said just friends. I pressed her on it and she finally admitted they were both people she had hooked up with on and off before we met each other. I asked her how she would feel if I was DMing shirtless gym pics to my past FWBs and she said she wouldn't care, which I highly doubt. I told her we obviously have very different views on what is acceptable to do while in a relationship and that I don't think we're compatible, and left. She started calling me and I ignored them and texted her back that I need space and time to digest what just happened and that we can talk later. I don't know if I'm overreacting about this. As far as I know, she hasn't physically cheated or anything like that. To me, posting bikini pics on Instagram is one thing. But DMing spicier bikini pictures to specific guys she used to sleep with crosses a line, is crazy disrespectful, and tells me that she is seeking targeted validation and attention and probably gets off over these guys getting steamed up over her. I'm questioning myself if I should give her another chance or stand up for myself and what I believe is acceptable for the relationships I want to be in and walk away. Story 12. Am I 28F, an idiot for forgiving my partner, 32M, of 6 years for trying to have sex with his brother's fiancée? For starters, we were together for 6 generally happy years. I thought this man was going to be my husband. My whole family loves him and vice versa, tons of shared friends and acquaintances and memories over 6 years. At around the 3-year mark, we hit a rough patch during COVID and lost a bit of our romantic momentum. As a woman, I had a gut feeling something was up and made the mistake of going through his phone. I found a dick pic in his recently deleted photos and confronted him about it. He lied and manipulated the situation, saying it was nothing and he never sent it to anyone, and I had no proof, so I chose to believe him. I buried it deep and tried to just trust and believe he would never do that to me and would be honest. I started crying after sex, feeling like some sort of trust had been broken. Side note, I have caught him before masturbating to pictures of women we know and he had interest in before we started dating. I felt slightly disgusted and asked him to stop. It wasn't cheating, but I felt like his head was elsewhere. Shortly after this time, him and his brother had a falling out and he told me it was because he hurt his feelings, saying something brash and that he was just being dramatic. They didn't speak for the next 2 years. I constantly tried to urge him to mend the relationship as it was stressing out his parents. Cut to the holidays of 2023, I couldn't ignore my intuition and looked in his deleted messages. There was a very long deleted message from his brother telling him to be a man and apologize and own up to his mistakes. "You tried to fuck my fiancé multiple times," etc. My stomach dropped. The deleted dick pic was for his brother's fiancé of 10 years. I immediately left and went to a bar to decompress. I called the fiancé the next day and begged her to tell me what happened. She was also in on it at the time, was equally sending pictures and videos, and told me it went on for a couple months but they never met up. He told me it was a couple days and just a picture. I don't know who to believe. Is it forgivable? He didn't physically cheat on me, but the thought he would do that to his own blood makes me kind of nauseous. Story 13. I ate a because I stopped cooking dinner for my husband and son. I 37F am fed up with making dinner only for my husband 39M and son 13M to usually not eat it. They have both become the most unbearable pickiest eaters on the planet and I'm so sick of their shit. At first I was able to make at least 10 different dishes out of their picky eating habits, so I'd rotate those out. Over these last few years, they have both gotten worse with their picky eating to the point where there's only like 3 different dishes they will eat that I cook. I cook really good. I am Spanish and my mother taught me how to make so many different cultural dishes as well as Americanized dishes. My husband is American Italian. He won't eat anything that isn't American Italian, but he's even pickier than that. To give you an example, he will only eat white meat chicken that isn't touching any bone. He will never touch seafood. He told me that he used to be the person that would only order chicken fingers at a restaurant, so I am married to the adult version of that kid. My son has recently started following in his image. My son used to have a wide palate and would try anything, but not anymore. All of a sudden he can't handle anything, just like my husband. They aren't even blood related. My husband is stepfather. They used to love my dishes and I used to get a lot of praise for how good my cooking was. I am not sure why over time they have become the pickiest eaters. Now all I get is, I am not hungry right now, I'll eat later, and then they don't touch the food and it goes to waste. Or straight up, I'm not eating that, when it is perfectly delicious and edible. I am so sick of the two of them that I have refused to cook for a couple months now, and my husband brought it up like it was a problem that I am not making any of the 3 damn boring ass dishes he can handle. I'm sick of cooking these 3 dishes, and sometimes they won't even eat that. They've been fending for themselves for dinner and I feel way less stressed out now. And just so you know, I work full time just like my husband does, so why he can't do the cooking if he wants to be so picky I don't understand. Apparently because I have the vagina, I'm the one expected to cook over it. I come home from work ready to eat dinner, but will he cook it? No. So I've been having to just have a girl dinner by myself, which usually consists of cheese and crackers. I think I am just ranting at this point. I wish someone else would mind dinner and I didn't have to be responsible anymore. Anyway, do you think I am an asshole? Story 14. Story 14. I ate up for assuming I was invited to my cousin's wedding, and making a scene, when I found out I wasn't. My 18F cousin's 22F wedding was this weekend. I'll call her Mary. Growing up, we were pretty close, as me and my siblings, 20F and 23 meters, often went to Mary's house. Lately, we haven't seen each other much, because all of them moved away for college, but it's still nice to see each other at family events. A year and a half ago, she met her now husband. He was invited to Christmas, Easter, and every family event since then. When he was there, I noticed that Mary was a lot more distant than usually and barely talked to me but talked with my siblings all night. I figured it was probably just because of our age difference. A few months ago, we got an invitation to their wedding in the mail. Or at least my parents did. My name wasn't mentioned on the invitation, which was addressed to the *our last name S, but since I still live with my parents, and my brother and sister both got one, I assumed I was included, and so did my parents. But Mary's face dropped when she saw me. She pretended to smile, but I could see something was bothering her. The wedding went on, but during the cocktail, Mary came up to me and asked me why I came, since she didn't send me an invitation. I was taken aback a bit, but told her that we assumed I was included, and asked her why she didn't invite me. She avoided the question, but after insisting a bit, she told me that she wanted her husband's family to have a good impression of her family, and didn't want them to know that her cousin was a lesbian, because she wanted to have a normal family. For context, our family is pretty open-minded, and all of them accept me, but her husband and his family are a lot more traditional and conservative. What I don't understand is, I don't look gay, whatever that means, and they would have never known unless someone told them. I was so shocked. I told her that she was sick for caring about impressing a bunch of bigots more than her own cousin. She got mad at me and we both got a bit loud, which attracted attention. People came to find out what was happening. When they found out, my parents said that she was being mean and shouldn't have made a big deal about this. A bunch of other people said that it was wrong of me to come when I wasn't invited. Mary started telling me to leave, so I stormed off. Since, I have been receiving texts from her and her parents saying that I was a bitch for coming, making a scene, and ruining her big day. I understand that it's her wedding and she can invite whoever she wants, but her words were so hurtful. And I genuinely thought I was invited. But I know it's wrong that I caused such a scene on her wedding day. Maybe I should have just left and not said anything. Aida. Story 15. My BF cheated on me when I was gone with work for 3 months. I went to Oregon to work 3 months during summer. During this time, we basically had a long distance relationship, texted and called every day. We were fighting a lot, but even when we did, I never told of being unfaithful to him. I am far from perfect myself because I never knew how to behave when he was lovebombing me and always considered it was too much and felt suffocated, but I always tried to reassure him of my love for him. We planned to move in together when I was going to be back in town and we found a beautiful apartment. I saw the apartment but didn't spend more than 10 hours in it because we also had planned a 2-week trip in Spain. When we got to the apartment, I wanted to talk more about all the fights that we had over the summer and just be transparent about our feelings because I wanted the relationship to work. I felt him being distant and so I told he fell out of love and tries to find it back. That is what I told. After a few shots, he started to really talk and confessed he had a one-night stand with a girl he met in a bar. At first I thought he was just trying to see my reaction because I would have never thought he would be capable of such disgusting thing, but he was serious. I was deeply hurt, but didn't throw a tantrum. I wanted details, how the night went, who he was with, who else knew, who the girl was, how she looked, when they kissed, the position that did it, everything. I decided not to end the relationship and make it work. I asked him not to masturbate as a punishment and only be intimate when I request. Of course later on he broke this twice, first saying, he completely forgot, and second saying, I thought the punishment was over. I want to be with him, have a family, raise his kids, but sometimes it gets to me and I become sad, feel inferior to that girl in the bar. I don't know how to forgive him but I want to and really want this to work. Story 16. I read my wife's journal. Married 10 years and am wondering what is the truth now. M39 F39. My wife and I have been together for 10 years and the last 6 years have been distant. We have 3 kids together and are not happy. We sleep in different rooms, don't communicate well and honestly feel like she is a roommate. We sleep together rarely and never spend time together. Part of the reason is her eating disorder which takes priority over me and the kids. To make a long story short, she was inpatient residential for her ED for 2 months, PHP for 2 months and now is in IOP. I came across her journals while she was in treatment and no longer see her as the same woman and doubt everything she is saying. Currently, we are just about to start our third, and for me, a final attempt at marriage therapy. I feel completely deflated since reading her thoughts. They include horrible things about me, my mother who I watched die from cancer, my family, etc. Examples. I hate him so much, he is a narcissist, just like his dead bitch mother. He's from Britain, not even a real American. He's Jewish, I should have married a good Christian man. I have turned to my eating disorder, starving myself, over-exercising and shopping just to feel something, to feel a burn, to feel a high, to feel hunger. I just don't feel anything for him anymore. Lord, I'm pleading with you, please don't force me to stay married to him. I don't think I've ever actually considered him my husband, the word just sounds disgusting. He's my roommate, or honestly less than that. See, not only do we not get along, but we don't even like each other, we don't want to see each other or spend time together. Doesn't want to have sex unless she fantasizes about us having a threesome with a bug-breasted sexy woman. Enjoys the thought of me fucking them both. She made a list of 32 reasons why she wants a divorce. Kept repeating how she hates me so much. Hates my mother and my family, calls them all evil, not a good person amongst them. In addition, I found out she went off birth control so she could get pregnant with 2/3 kids, has a guy friend I didn't know about for 9 years whom she denied being sexual with but has thought about fucking, constantly lies to me and admits this, spends recklessly and is a stay-at-home mom. Being married for 10 years has been challenging, but after reading everything she wrote, I'm wondering if she is really the woman I thought I married. In closing, she says she loves me and wants to make things work, but all I see are the thoughts she put down in her journal. Is this actually what she thinks? Does she want to stay together just because I am a good provider? Story 17. Aida for calling my parents selfish for having me, knowing they'd pass down a hereditary illness, and going LC after they hid it, putting my child at risk too. Edit. Most of you figured it out anyway. It is Huntington's. I 28F recently found out I have a serious hereditary illness that's going to screw up my life, and I am so mad I can barely type this out. It's a degenerative illness, no cure, nothing. My body's just gonna slowly get worse. And the kicker, my parents have known this could happen my whole life and never said a damn word. This illness runs in my family. My dad's mom had it. His sister, my aunt, died from it a few years ago. I was living overseas when she passed, and my parents told me it was cancer. Cancer. They lied right to my face. It wasn't until I got diagnosed that they finally came clean and admitted she had the same illness I do. When I confronted them, my dad wouldn't even give me a straight answer. I asked if he had it too, and he dodged every single question, acting like I was overreacting. My mom, on the other hand, tried to justify it by saying they didn't want me living in fear. Are you kidding me? I could have been prepared. Instead, they chose to let me walk into this blind. And here's where it gets worse, I have a 2-year-old son. My child might have this, and they never told me I was at risk. I could have had him tested, made informed decisions, anything asterisk. But no, they took that from me, and now I live in constant fear for him too. Then my mom had the nerve to ask me if I would have rather not been born than deal with this. Can you believe that? She turned it around on me, like I'm the monster for even thinking it. And you know what? Yes, I said it. Yes, I would rather not have been born than deal with this disease. They made a selfish choice, and now I'm paying for it. They knew the risks and did it anyway, for themselves asterisk. They wanted kids, and now I'm stuck with this. I called them selfish, and I meant every word. Now, they're begging me not to tell my younger siblings. They don't know about this yet, haven't been tested, and my parents want to keep it that way. They're hoping they'll get lucky, but I'm not going to lie to them. I refuse to let them be blindsided like I was. They deserve to know the truth. I've gone low contact with my parents. I can't stand to even think about them right now. My mom keeps trying to guilt trip me, saying they were just trying to protect me. Protect me from what? The truth. No, they weren't protecting me. They were protecting themselves from the guilt of knowing they passed this on, and now they want me to protect them too. But I won't. I love my son and my siblings too much to lie to them. Aida for going LC and refusing to keep their secret, even though they claim they were just trying to protect me. Story 18. Aida for refusing to give my seat to a lady and her child. I 23F was on my way home from work on the subway, totally exhausted. My company had organized a sports event that I was busy with all day. My commute is pretty long, about 50 minutes. Luckily, I got a seat and was about to doze off when, at the next station, a lady and her young boy who looked about 8 years old got on. The lady was carrying her son, even though he looked perfectly capable of walking on his own. She walked straight toward me and motioned with her head for me to get up. She didn't even say anything, and it felt like she was just expecting me to move. The boy wasn't a toddler, he looked around 8 years old, so I didn't see why she was carrying him. Something about her face triggered me, so I bluntly said, no. She seemed surprised and started talking about how someone my age should give up their seat for a mother carrying her child. She also made a few comments about how the younger generation is disrespectful. The lady herself looked like she was in her late 30s, and again, the boy didn't seem to need to be carried at all. A few people gave me dirty looks, and I felt awkward, but I stayed in my seat. However, once I got off and was walking home, I couldn't shake the feeling that maybe I was in the wrong. Aida. Update: I was sitting in a regular seat, not a priority seat. And yes, I actually saw the child running and jumping around on the subway, shouting at times. It's not just an assumption, he seemed perfectly fine. The mother didn't bother to discipline him while he was shouting. Someone else eventually offered her a seat, and after that, she just sat down and started talking on her phone, probably complaining about the younger generation. Story 19. Entitled: Neighbor thinks we'll empty out our house for her. My partner and I share a title deed with an ex-friend. I'll call her Little Red Hen. The title deed is for a house and land. Our family lives in the house, my partner and I plus 4 kids, and LRH uses some of the land. The Little Red Hen lives next door, so the land is adjoining. We have made it 4 years, but as her crazy has slowly trickled out, we are done dealing with her. To keep it short, she was infiltrating our family, coming over all the time, calling my husband her bestie, and cutting me down with offhanded comments. Weird, single white female stuff. Am I showing my age with that one? Remember that movie? Entitlement without basis, absolute toxic person, textbook narcissist stuff. My partner and I have learned a great deal during this, and we are stronger for it. We absolutely take full responsibility for being duped, but now it's time to remove ourselves from her, and we're trying to do it delicately. We figured the best way is tell her we wanted to move because of the neighborhood, as it was getting more noisy and crowded than when we first moved, and this was not a lie. As we had guessed, she said she could buy us out and do a cash out refinance. It's undeniable that my partner and I have put all of the money into the house and land, as well as paid for every mortgage payment, so LRH knows we are expecting our investment back as well as equity. She was very agreeable that first meeting, and we agreed to give her time to attempt the buyout. She in turn said she would give us a month to use the buyout money to find a new place to move out, as we needed the money to move. Besides being a family of 6, with all of the stuff that entails, my partner has a metal shop in the garage, with lots of heavy tools and machinery. A month would be pushing it, but as soon as we got the green light, we would work our asses off to leave this hen behind in the dust. The next time we meet, LRH says excitedly that she can get approved for a rental loan, and for the appraisal for it the house has to be empty. We pause at this. She must know that wouldn't work. She then follows that up with, "Don't worry, you can move back in while we're waiting for the loan to come through." I had to take a couple of deep breaths. What does this entitled little red hen think we're going to do? Throw our stuff up in the air while the house inspection happens? Did she really think we would jump at this chance to move all of our belongings out of a house to where? I don't know, and then basically camp in the same house waiting to see if the loan will even be approved? She did, actually. After a few breaths, I calmly reminded her that we needed the money to move. She doubles down. "Oh, you'll definitely get the money, you just have to give me a little bit to get approved after you move out. Just let me know when you're moved out." I cut her off then. "No. That will absolutely not work for us." It was her turn to pause, then she said that she'll just have to think of something else. "Yes," I said, agreeing with her finally. I am really enjoying this new thing of arguing with Little Red Hen though. Thank you for reading. I can only hope I'm the only one stupid enough to try to help a friend by sharing property. Asterisk 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 edit to add asterisk 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 asterisk. We talked to a lawyer before any discussion to know what our options were, and we also talked to the loan officer. We're trying to be smart about this now. We can't undo a lot, but we can move forward. Story 20. Remind me of my work hours. I will remind you of my work hours. A few years ago now, I worked as a nurse in Wales. There was a junior sister there who was an odd woman. She would openly bully a couple of staff members by telling them to do a faster handover by entering the room several times during said handover to tell them to be quicker, until she was told that they would be a lot quicker if they hadn't been made to stop several times during their report. I didn't drive at the time, so had to take the bus. One early shift the bus was a bit late, which made me 5 minutes late to the start of the shift. I was told by junior sister that I would need to take the 5 minutes off my 20-minute coffee break or work an additional 5 minutes at the end of my shift. When I started to voice my annoyance at being punished for something out of my control, I was told, "Your working hours are from 7 to 30 am to 3 to 12 p.m. with one 20-minute break." I chose to deduct the 5 minutes from my already short break, as leaving 5 minutes late would leave me late for my bus home. A few shifts later, I was getting on with my work and had a few care plans to rewrite. At the time, all notes were handwritten, as I had been a bit frosty with junior sister, just keeping any conversations strictly professional. I sat down to start rewriting said care plans. Junior sister asked if I wanted a hand, to which I replied, "If you would like to, thank you," to which she picked a bunch up and went into her office. Cue malicious compliance. Bang on 3 p.m. I packed up my things, grabbed my coat, and made a point of saying goodbye to junior sister. She looked up from her desk and asked me where I was going, to which I responded, "Home." She said she was still writing my care plans and would I write a couple so she can get them done quicker. Yes, you guessed it, I replied with, my working hours are from 7:30 till 3. I get no leeway when my bus is late, so I will no longer be staying after my shift has finished. I will just hand over any outstanding jobs to the next shift. To which I walked off. I would like to say the look on her face was priceless, but I had already left the ward and didn't see it, so worth losing 5 minutes to not be able to finish my food on my break. Story 21. Aida for refusing to help my siblings with my estranged mother's end-of-life care. My mother, who I have been estranged from my entire adult life and since the age of 15, is terminally ill. She wasn't a great mother to any of her kids. There's me 27M and my sisters 23F, 20F and my brother 22M. But in saying that she treated me the worst and left me homeless at the age of 15 because I looked the most like our father, who she hated with every fiber of her being, and don't ask me why she had 4 kids with him, I have no idea. I went entirely no contact from that point on. My siblings still lived with her and according to them she got better once I was gone. My siblings have always downplayed how bad it was for me and how bad she treated me. So while I still talk to them, I am not close to them and I don't know if there's a future where that will ever happen. Which is why I refused to help them with her end-of-life care now that she's terminally ill. They say she has about a year left and needs a lot more help than they can cover. I told them it was not my job to make sure she goes out of this world in comfort and peace. They told me she's still our mother and I told them she was the fucking worst mother. That I would not shed a tear over her and I felt not one single ounce of obligation to her. They tried the do it for us angle and I told them they have minimized the stuff she did to me even though they said she got a little better once I was gone. So they know she hated me to her core. They told me I'm still her son, still their brother and I'm the oldest. I even got a call from her adult social worker who had been told to contact me by my siblings. She wanted to go over my mother's care with me. I explained I would not be taking part in the end-of-life care for my mother, which surprised her but she left it alone. My siblings think I'm a monster and they say I should be willing to do something. This has turned into a fight 3 times already. Aida. Story 22. My sister F36 and I F35 signed a 3-year lease. She got pregnant 3 months in. How'd I tell her I need to move out? I F35 moved across the country Canada with my son M14 and my dog to start new. I asked my sister, F36, to join me in the city. She lived in a small town 2 hours south from where we live now. I accepted a job offer, as did my sister, and we signed a 3-year fixed rental agreement in a 3-bedroom house. My sister and I are very different people. We have a complicated, but supportive relationship. We have a lot of love and respect for one another. We also have some on-off codependency issues from our childhood. Things were going well for the first few months. We were transitioning into this dynamic and it wasn't always easy, but we found systems and ways to make it work. Everything changed 3 months ago. My sister met a man, and conceived on her first date. The baby is due in April. It's a welcome surprise. My sister is experiencing a difficult start to her pregnancy, insomnia, stress, thyroid issues. We have not been getting along. My son and I can do nothing right. It's the little things compounded. My sister is also quite entitled, openly expresses and reinforces this attribute with humor. In her pregnancy, it's been worse. There's little to no consideration. For example, she's struggling with the sound in the house. She leaves her door open for her cat and refuses to wear earplugs. Instead, she demands for my son and I to vacate the living room and kitchen at 8 p.m. because she can hear us. I don't get home until 7 p.m. and need to make dinner. Another example is that I had been giving her upwards of $600 per meter in groceries. I have a lot of allergies and she wouldn't accommodate these allergies, so I would often need to eat alone and buy additional groceries. It hurt me to learn that she had her groceries supplemented by the father of her unborn child, meaning that she had been asking for money for groceries that were already paid for. My salary is less than my sister's and I have a dependent. She decided that the child's father, M36, would move into this house, with his dog and his cat, and sleep in the foyer at the top of the stairs without consulting with myself or my son. This area of the house is not closed in. It's positioned above the living room kitchen, an area that my sister has already deemed inaccessible between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m., and also between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. My son and I are starting to get forced into our bedrooms off the entry hallway. They split up 2 weeks ago, and he's still moving in. He's a bit of a dirty guy and my sister is type A. To put things into perspective, she has cleaned out his house, and his 2 storage units in the last 3 months. He's not much of a cook, or cleaner. She said that I'm lucky because I get to benefit financially from this. I'll pay less in rent and, I don't even deserve it. Those were her actual words. I actually like the guy. I don't like the way my sister treats him, but he's a nice guy. I moved for a lot of reasons. My son's was experiencing anxiety and self-esteem issues around his father, never married, separated after birth of our son, in and out of the picture, whom had drained our collective savings account for the kids' education because of addiction. I wasn't able to secure a suitable salary with my education to get ahead. To be fully honest here, my sister and I had a hard upbringing. The only reason I stayed in our hometown was so that my son had access to his father, and well, a time came where his father's absence would be more beneficial than his presence. I moved so that we could start a new life, and have peace. We are not experiencing peace. I confronted my sister about the use of communal spaces, and that she would have to find solutions to limit the way sound affected her. I confronted my sister about shared bills, and have asked her to post the bills on the fridge, and that we would no longer be splitting most groceries. I confronted my sister that I'm not entirely comfortable with someone moving in here. It's not within the rights of our lease and we would need to communicate this with the landlord, and ask to break the lease. My sister's response to everything has been emotional, reluctant, and avoidant. She simply cries, yells and walks away. She claims that I am abandoning her. I feel exhausted, exploited and manipulated. It's affecting my work, my personal life and my ability to enjoy life. My son is experiencing some anxiety too. He has sports and extracurricular most days after school and I am adamant to discuss adult things without my son there. However, he has witnessed some arguments and knows that we are not getting along. I want to leave this situation. I know I have to. I feel like I am abandoning her. Not just because she tells me so, but because everything is crazy and I want to leave. I didn't sign up for this. I don't agree to live with my sister, her estranged ex-BF of 3 months, and his 2 pets. I don't know where to start, how to do this. I know I need a couple months to save up for first and last. Edit. Removed some details to keep privacy intact. TLDR. My sister F36 got pregnant after we, myself F35, signed a 3 years fixed lease in a 3-bedroom house for us, my son, her cat and my dog. She controls the use of spaces and bills within the house. She has demanded that the father of her unborn child M36, whom she broke up with 2 weeks ago and only known 3 months, move in the house with his dog and his cat. She didn't consult me. The landlord doesn't know. I think I need to leave. Story 23. AITAH for kicking my brother's long-term partner and her kids out of his house. I, 44M, about 16 years ago purchased my first house. Within about 3 months of purchasing, I got a job offer a couple of states away that was too good to pass up. So, I planned to move and sell the house at likely a loss. My older brother had a family with 2 young kids, but couldn't get approved for a mortgage due to bad credit. He floated the idea that he rent the house from me, at least for a bit, and we agreed. A few years later, my brother's marriage fell apart. Apparently there was cheating on both sides. They got divorced, wife and kids moved out, he paid child support, and he moved his affair partner in. Affair partner has 2 young kids, 3 and 1 at the time, neither are my brother's kids. The partner is someone I have tolerated, but never liked. I think the feeling is mutual. But, my brother has continued to rent from me through the years. He was always the only person on the lease with the partner listed as occupant. The lease is month to month. A couple of months ago, my brother died unexpectedly. I went and spoke to my attorney because I want to sell the house, give some money to my brother's bio kids, and put the rest away for a nest egg. I told my brother's partner that she needed to leave the home, she refused. So, I am going through the formal eviction process. So she says the house is my brother's house and how dare I kick his partner out of his house. That obviously is not the case. Her and some family members are calling me an AH for kicking her out of my brother's house and making her kids leave the only home they have ever known. Aida. Story 24. Aida for exposing my wife's cheating and not wanting to do anything with a child that isn't mine. So 2 weeks ago I found out that my 5-year-old isn't biologically mine. I felt so hurt and betrayed that my wife of 6 years relationship for 9 cheated on me and even got pregnant by another man. I took a paternity test without telling my wife. I immediately confronted my wife and called her a whore in my anger and many other names. She started crying and explained that she hid it because she didn't want to break our happy family of 3. I asked her why did she cheat on me. She explained we had a very nasty argument back in the day, so she hooked up with someone and it was just one time fling and has been loyal to me. She said she had doubts that I wouldn't be the father, but she never took paternity. She said she was happy seeing me happy and didn't go with abortion for peace of our family and didn't tell me the truth. I told her I am divorcing and I don't want to be in our son's life. She started crying and begging me to not break the family, and I am still his father and I have been a wonderful father and a husband. I should forgive her and don't let DNA destroy our lives, and started begging me. I immediately left and she was blowing up my phone. I decided at first not to tell anyone else, but in the end I got very angry and decided to tell everyone. Everyone is pissed at my wife. Her parents said they want nothing to do with their daughter and cut contact. My sister furiously called my soon-to-be ex and cursed her out. Her brother and sister on the other hand said I have humiliated my soon-to-be ex and shouldn't have told everyone and should have kept in between us. Yesterday her sister called me and said I need to take her back and come back for my son. I said I don't have a son. She got angry and started cursing me and said I am a weak, pathetic man. No wonder my wife cheated on me, and I am so pathetic I had to go behind my wife's back to take paternity cause I am insecure and weak, that I am giving up on my son just because we don't share blood, and I am the reason my wife is alone and depressed. I cut her call. Instead I called her husband and told him everything. I said that family is full of nut jobs. Maybe it runs in their blood. You should take a paternity as well and don't trust those bitches. He said he's sorry on his wife's behalf and we ended the call. Now I am ignoring all my wife's and that bitch's calls. Story 25. Ruining a scammer's day. Earlier today someone knocked on my door claiming to be from a company that audits natural gas suppliers. She asked to see my gas bill to see if the current rate approved by the state is correct and to sign me up for a 5% rebate. She almost had me because she had a very official looking ID. When I saw that the online form she wanted me to sign said it was a contract, I asked her to send it in the mail. She agreed and left. I immediately googled the company, rhymes with Schmeidensteiner, and the first thing that came up was a Better Business Bureau report that this is a scam and the company is locking people into much higher energy rates. So, I left my house to find the scammer, and she was at a neighbor's house down the street. The wife was just about to sign the contract when I called across the yard, "Don't sign that. I'm your neighbor and this is a scam." The husband came to the door and kicked the lady off of his property. I followed this woman and another one who was at the house next door, and called the police. I was about 30 feet behind. While I was giving a detailed description of the 2 women, they were on the phone with someone. A minute later, a white van came driving up, and the driver yelled at the women, "Hurry up and get in. You walk to FC King's show." The women ran and hopped in the van. The van then drove off backwards down the street so I couldn't get the license number. The whole time I was relaying all of this to the police dispatcher, who sent a car to the neighborhood. TLDR, scammers came to my house. I followed them down the street, interrupting their scamming, and the police got involved. Story 26. Aida for making my daughter take a break from going to her best friend's house because the mom purposely bought her a smaller size dress. About 2 weeks ago my 14-year-old daughter Bonnie was out shopping with her best friend Gigi and Gigi's mom Lauren. While they were out, Lauren bought them both dresses she thought were cute. Except she bought Bonnie a size 3. Bonnie said she picked out one that was her size, but Lauren put it back and said that the size 3 one would be her aspirational dress to work towards fitting into. When she came home, she gave it to me and was upset but also didn't want to say anything bad about Gigi's mom, which I get. First off, Bonnie is a healthy girl. Gymnastics until she was about 11 and grew several inches, dance in the fall and track in the spring, all her choices. So she's got an athletic build. Gigi is a small girl, barely 5 feet, and so I thought at first she got them mixed up. She told me that Gigi's mom got it for her to aspire to try to get into by working hard. I said I'd take care of it and get her the right size. The next day, I called Gigi's mom Lauren and asked her why she would do that. She explained that she thought it would give Bonnie something to work towards, because she heard Bonnie saying she didn't get asked out last year but Gigi had several boys after her and that it seemed like it upset her. I told her it was inappropriate and asked her why she would tell a kid she needed to lose weight in order to get attention from boys. She got defensive and said that it was obviously embarrassing for Bonnie to not have boys into her when all her friends do. She basically said I'm holding Bonnie back from growing up, like I won't help her with boys, won't drop hundreds at Sephora, still dress her like a kid, and buy B&BW sprays instead of fancy perfumes. She said it's messing with Bonnie socially and that she's the only one in her friend group who hasn't had a boyfriend. Then she got personal and said just because I've given up and stopped trying doesn't mean I have to turn Bonnie into a nun. For the record, this is partially true. But it's also because Bonnie doesn't want that stuff. I have offered to get her more than Cetaphil skincare and she doesn't want it. She got straight A's last year and I took her to Ulta for a spree, and all she wanted was some lip gloss and then asked for the body spray instead. I said that it's time for a break. The girls can still hang out, but I don't want Bonnie at Gigi's house. Bonnie got upset over it and I can deal with that. Gigi's mom however has gone nuclear over it, spreading poison everywhere she can about me being psycho, and doubling down on how it's all because I don't want my daughter to be happy with a boyfriend when I'm single and no man would touch me. Which is just childish. And I've been shocked to see how other people have reacted to this, so now I'm questioning my own parenting, which I never do. Aida. Story 27. A threesome lead to the end of my 28F first marriage. My new fiancé 29M doesn't know the whole story. How do I tell him? I got married to my high school boyfriend young, I was only 22 at the time. I would have liked to have waited longer but I got pregnant, so we got married. My ex was my first boyfriend, first kiss, first sex, first everything. And I was the same for him. So about 3 years into our marriage my husband, now ex, began to hint about spicing up our sex life as it had become rather dull. He suggested a threesome and I assumed he meant with another girl. I declined because I'm really not into girls, but what he actually had in mind was another guy. Turns out one of his secret kinks was watching me with another man. I again declined, said I wasn't interested, but he was persistent and eventually wore me down. If I'm being honest, I was a little curious, having only been with one guy my whole life. So I agreed. We found a guy online and set the whole thing up. I won't go into details on the whole event, but I had the best sex of my life that night. My ex seemed to enjoy himself as well, and meeting up with this guy, we will call him Tim, became a regular occurrence. Things were good for a while but turned bad in a hurry. My ex grew jealous of Tim and I began to question our relationship. Eventually my ex told me that we were done seeing Tim, and when I said I didn't want to, that was the beginning of the end for us. We tried to make it work for the sake of our daughter, but we were broken at the point. We got divorced and I ended up dating Tim for a while, but that ended when I realized we really weren't compatible outside of the bedroom. Fast forward 3 years and I am engaged. We will call my fiancé Alex, and I haven't told him exactly what led to my divorce. He knows I left my husband for another man. But I left out the rest of it. I'm ashamed of the whole thing and really don't want Alex to see me that way. I really love my fiancé. I don't think I knew what real love was until I met him. But I'm terrified of what he will think of me if he knows all of my past. I'm also not 100% certain my ex won't let any of this slip out. The divorce wasn't smooth and there have been many fights over custody. My ex is also pretty jealous of Alex as well. My ex has photos and video of me and Tim, and I'm not sure he's above sending it to Alex. He hasn't yet, but he has threatened it when we fight. I'm in a bind and need some advice. Thank you for listening. Have a great time ahead.